Hello, Psych crew. Welcome to a new week of learning. I am thankful to at least be able to connect with you via video, even if I am not able to be here with you in person. I hope that you are enjoying a little bit freer schedule as far as being able to do your learning in a little bit more flexible way this week. So I'm just going to go through a little bit of what your focus is going to be this week as you learn. To start off, I'd like to give an opportunity just to kind of recap a little bit of what we've learned about behaviorism, the who, what, how aspects of that. And then you will do your article discussion board where you read it and do the circle, triangle, and square. Reflection. Remember to respond to the initial discussion post by Tuesday at midnight, and then respond to your 3 group members by midnight on Thursday. That just ensures that everybody is able to complete their pieces and that nobody's holding them up. So initial post in response to the article by Tuesday at midnight, and then by Thursday at midnight, respond to your 3 people in your group. So let's go ahead and jump into the behaviorism pieces, and then I'll give you a chance to do your discussion board, and then I'll have a second video to talk about the social cognitive theory aspect. All right, so when we think about behaviorism, we have a few key players that we talked about. We have Pavlov, who's the classical conditioning guy. He's a Russian neurologist, and that I think can inform our decision to see the lens to which he's looking at behaviorism through. He is going to see it very neurologically, very scientifically about how it's functioning in the brain. He maybe won't consider emotions and the complexities of being a human being as much as maybe a psychologist would. So keeping that in mind when we look at Pavlov and the conditioning that he did with the dogs and the salivating. We have Skinner, who is an American psychologist who's responsible for the operant conditioning, and you got to experience that a few times in class last week when we were doing different conditioning exercises, and then getting to see the videos of both classical conditioning and operant conditioning in action in the classroom examples. And then we have Watson, who's an American psychologist as well. He focused a lot on scientific theory. So as I shared in class, I'm not a huge fan of his approach because he seems to have taken out what makes us really human in his approach. It's just so scientific that it doesn't seem to honor the complex image bearers that we are. And then finally, we have Thorndike, who's also an American psychologist, who really did a great job of connecting education and behaviorism. When you look at applied behavioral analysis and you read the article in a little bit, you're going to see some of those ties where there's connections to using ABA and using behaviorism in a classroom setting in order to really help our students to learn to the best of their abilities. And so he really made a lot of those connections to education in his work. So the what then would be the classical and operant conditioning that we talked about. Keep in mind the definitions that we had between reinforcement and punishment, and the positive versus negative, really meaning adding versus subtracting. So you can refer back to the chart. I will show it one more time here as well, here in just a second. And then when we think about the how, that's where that applied behavioral analysis comes in. And we got to learn from Sarah at Thrive about the ways that they're supporting students with some behavior deficits. And you're going to read an article from Kathleen Ventall that really speaks to that Christian perspective of how we can use ABA while honoring our students as image bearers. So that's kind of that how. So just to recap for you, I wanted to show this example of reinforcement and punishment because this can be really easily misunderstood. And just thinking about reinforcement as encouragement toward a desired outcome, and punishment as discouraging negative behavior. And so thinking about the differences between those two. So just wanted to put that in front of you again. And then here were some of the definitions that we talked about in class. And I just want to make sure that you're keeping in mind some of these ideas, particularly the PREMAC principle and how that can play a role in helping our students. choose to accomplish the tasks within learning that maybe they don't want to, because we know that's a part of learning as well. All right, so I'm going to send you off to do your reading and reflect on what you're squared away with, what you're angled about, and what you might be circling around. Include a reference to each of those 3 parts in your discussion post, and then you can check out your peers when they're finished over the next couple of days.